Welcome to your personalized deep dive. We're diving into a question that's probably on your mind. As an African international student, how do you land a great part-time job while studying abroad? We've been looking into some research on short courses that can really boost your resume and give you an edge, especially in a new job market. And of course, help fatten up that bank account.
It's about thinking strategically. That's
Right.
great. Short courses are a really good way to gain those specific skills that you need, and they get you those valuable certifications that employers are really looking for. Plus, you get some networking opportunities out of it. Those are always good.
Right. Exactly. And this isn't just about getting any old job. It's about finding something that works while you're studying, which can be tough. This report highlights how African international students often face those hurdles of a new job market, competing with locals, and it can feel like a lot. So these short courses, they're a good way to level the playing field. Plus, maybe you'll discover a new interest while you're at it. Speaking of new interests, this report had some really eye-catching stats about the increase in demand for home health aides.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
A projected 41% increase in the coming years.
Wow, that's huge.
That IS, huge.
And it makes sense when you think about it. You've got aging populations in countries like Australia, Canada, the UK. The demand for compassionate and qualified caregivers, it's only going to go up from here. That makes it a pretty stable and rewarding path for students who are looking for part-time work with a reliable income.
Yeah, and reliable income. That's key when you're studying abroad. And we're not talking about, chump change here. We're talking like personal care aide roles paying $14, $18 an hour, nursing assistant gigs at $13, $20 an hour. Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. And beyond the money aspect,
Yeah.
These roles give you a sense of purpose. You're making a real difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. And speaking of making a difference, let's talk about another certification that stood out to me in the report, good old first aid and CPR. This is one of those certifications that is useful for, well, everyone, really, but especially if you're thinking about jobs in places like schools, summer camps, community centers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not just about the skills. It's about what it says about you.
Yeah.
Right. It shows you're responsible, that you care about safety. Any employer would value that, regardless of the industry.
For sure. Okay, now for our listeners who are a little more tech savvy, this report really dives into the world of IT and digital marketing, and let me tell you, this is where things get exciting, especially in terms of earning potential.
Oh, yeah. This is a field that is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And you see that reflected in the earning potential. I mean, you see impressive salary increases, like 10% year on year. And that translates to some really attractive hourly rates for students who have the skills in demand. Stuff like website editing, IT support.
Yeah. The report specifically mentioned website editors are making bank these days, which makes sense. Everyone needs a website now, right?
Everyone and their dog.
Exactly. And then you've got IT support assistants, again, essential in this tech-driven world we live in, earning something like $16, $24 an hour.
What's key here is that, while those specific roles are hot right now, technology changes so fast. So it's less about, chasing the trends and more about building that strong foundation. Be adaptable, always be learning. That's how you thrive in that kind of environment. You got it. Adaptability is key in this field for sure. When we're talking about, skills that are in high demand, we can't forget about English language proficiency. This is especially for students whose first language isn't English.
Oh, that's a good point. It's easy to forget about sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, having that certification in English proficiency, it can open so many doors. And not even just for like part-time work, but also for academic success too, right?
Right. I mean, think about it. Good communication, it's essential for pretty much every field, right?
Yeah.
But it's even more important when you're studying and working in a language that isn't your native tongue. That certification, it shows employers, academic institutions, that you take clear and effective communication seriously.
And that can make a big difference, right? Especially when you're competing for like jobs and internships and things like that. And plus those skills, they'll help you way beyond when you're back with school.
Yeah.
No matter where you end up, good communication is like the key.
Yeah.
All right, so how about we switch gears a little bit from tech to something, a little more invigorating, maybe. The report highlighted personal training and fitness instruction as a growing field, particularly for those who, have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Totally. It's great for students who are passionate about health and fitness, and they want to share that with other people. With that rising focus on wellness, it's global now. Being a certified trainer, that can be rewarding on a personal level, a financial level.
It's true. It's like they say, turn your passion into your paycheck, right? And speaking of paychecks, the report mentioned that trainers can make like $50 an hour. Not too shabby. Think about it. You're helping people reach their fitness goals. Andy, you're supporting yourself financially. Win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our listeners who have a serious case of wanderlust, this next one's for you. The report suggests looking into teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL as they call it.
Oh, yeah, that TFL certification, it can be your ticket to see the world. Think about it.
Yeah,
You get to immerse yourself in these new cultures, new ways of life, and you get to share your knowledge. Plus, it can be a super fulfilling career path, too.
it's true. Plus, let's not forget, the pay is competitive too. And the skills you develop as a TEFL teacher, things like communication across cultures, patience, adaptability, those are all things that employers in a bunch of fields are going to be looking for.
That's a really good point. It's not just about, like, teaching grammar, right? You're fostering this cross-cultural understanding, and you're growing personally at the same time. It's a chance to have a real impact on people's lives, the students, and broaden your own horizons while you're at it. Speaking of really valuable skills, the report also touched on hospitality and tourism management. And it's like a classic choice for a reason. That industry is just booming globally.
Yeah, it makes sense if you think about it. Restaurants, hotels, resorts, event planning, all of it. They all need people. And international students, well, they often have those language skills and that cultural awareness that is as so valuable in that kind of setting. And you know what I thought was interesting? It seems like a lot of those short courses in hospitality and tourism, they can give you that really practical hands-on training, like you get the internships, the live projects, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about the theory. It's about getting that real-world experience while you're still studying,
Yeah.
which can make a huge difference when you're applying for jobs. It helps you stand out. Speaking of standing out, can we circle back to IT and digital marketing for a sec? This report goes a little deeper into some of those specific roles within those fields that are really hot right now.
Yeah.
And they all come with that nice earning potential that we were talking about before.
One that really jumped out at me was social media management. It's not just about like posting funny videos anymore.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, businesses need people who really understand how to use all those platforms strategically. They need to connect with their audience, build that brand awareness. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Social media managers now, they're creating that really engaging content. They're running those ad campaigns. They're analyzing all the data, building online communities. It's a lot. But those are in-demand skills. And if you've got a knack for digital marketing, well, that could be a pretty lucrative side hustle while you're studying.
Right. And the best part, a lot of times you can work remotely, set your own hours, pick the projects you want to work on, that kind of flexibility. It's a game changer for students who are already juggling like classes and exams and probably a social life on top of all that. That's so true.
Yeah.
Flexibility is key when you're a student, no doubt about it. But I ask about more than just like finding a job that you can do from your dorm room. It's about finding something that could turn into a real career path, something you're actually excited about. And speaking of, navigating this whole world, this report really highlighted something I thought was super interesting. It talked about how you've got to be like savvy about the local job market because it's different everywhere, right?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Because it's one thing to have those skills, to
Yeah.
have those qualifications, but actually understanding how a new job market works, that's a whole other thing.
Wow.
What are those employers really looking for? What are the unspoken rules when you're applying for these jobs? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It can be tough to figure it out, especially when you're coming from a different culture. It might not be obvious.
Exactly. And that's where I think the research comes in, right? Like doing your homework, A&D networking. You can't just like submit your resume online and cross your fingers anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. You've got to connect with people in your field.
Yeah.
Go to those industry events.
Yeah.
Try to find some mentors who can, show you the ropes a little bit. Remember we were talking about those networking opportunities, like the ones you can get from short courses? Those are gold mines when it comes to like meeting the right people and getting those little insider tips.
It's like they say, it's not always what. It's WHO. Okay, knowing your stuff always helps too. But yeah, no, building your network is huge, especially when it comes to a competitive job market like we're talking about. Speaking of things that can be a little competitive, we have to talk about visa regulations. It's one of those like essential things to know about working abroad. And I think it can feel overwhelming. At least it did for me.
It's true, though,
Yeah.
because each country is going to have its own rules about working on a student visa.
Yeah.
And you have to understand those rules
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to risk your student status.
No, absolutely not. But the good news is you don't have to figure this all out on your own. Most universities, they're going to have those international student offices.
Right. And they can help with all of that. They've seen it all. So they can answer those questions, tell you where to go for more help, that kind of thing. So you can make sure you're doing everything by the book. Exactly. My advice. Don't be shy about asking for help. It's always better to, just ask the question than to guess and get it wrong, right?
Yeah.
You have a support system for a reason. Use it.
100%. I feel like we covered so much in this deep dive. We talked about like the hottest certifications, networking, visa rules. It's a lot. But what I really loved about all of this research was that it showed just how many opportunities are out there for African international students, as long as you're willing to put in the work.
That's what it comes down to, that drive and that ambition. Because we didn't just want to, give a list of jobs. We want you to walk away from this feeling empowered.
Yes.
You've got the knowledge now. You've got the strategies to make it all happen. So take that leap. Embrace those new challenges and build that future that you really want, one that you're passionate about.
So, to our listener, if you take away one thing from this, let it be this. You've got this. You have the talent, you have the drive, and honestly, there's a whole world of opportunity out there just waiting for you. So take that first step. See what's out there. Don't be afraid to chase those big dreams because your future is out there waiting to be written. And who knows, maybe all it takes is one short course, one new skill, like unlock it all.